Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Andrea Speaks TV. I'm your host, Andrea, bringing you commentary you can use. So, hello. I hope you all are having a wonderful Wednesday. I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to tune in and get the information that I'm sharing. So, I hope you and your family are doing well. To my subscribers, my supporters, again, thank you all so much. If you have not subscribed to the channel, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, but you are someone who, like myself and many others who are part of our community, you're concerned about the times that we're living in, you're seeking truth, you're seeking transparency, you want to know what's going on and what are some real solutions, then I would like to invite you to subscribe and join our community right here, Andrea Speaks TV on YouTube, and give me some feedback as I report on different topics. I would also like to know what you think. What is your opinion? Today, we're talking about the topic of lab grown meat and why we all should be concerned. And so, whether you're watching now live or if you're watching by replay, I would like to know your thoughts. So, thank you all. Thank you. By the way, if you are on Instagram, you can also follow me on Instagram. I do have an Instagram page, which is at Andrea Speaks TV. From time to time, I will be going live on Instagram. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, I recorded my first ever Instagram live. And so, if you are on Instagram, or maybe someone you know is on Instagram, invite them to follow my page, and again, it is at Andrea Speaks TV. Hello to everyone who is tuned in now watching live. Thank you all so much for your patience. And you all know here on the channel, I talk a lot about emergency food supply, how there's so much going on that we all need to have an emergency food supply, an emergency plan for our families, as well as survival needs. So make sure you check out my website, preparewithandrea.com, so you can get the things that you need. And these are things that my family and I are using. It's not something that I'm just telling you about and I'm not using myself. My family and I have many of these items, so I just want to share um, them with you. Okay, y'all. So the topic for today, we want to talk about it, is lab grown meat. Okay, you all say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me see. I should have done this before I started, so give me just a minute, y'all. Give me just a second. Okay, again, thank you all for your support. Okay, all right, I think I got it set up. And I think it's starting to rain in my area. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this episode done before it starts to get too bad outside. Okay, so the topic for today's episode, y'all, is lab grown meat and why we all need to be concerned. So as I was doing research, well, let me share this, y'all. When I do go live, most times I plan out, the topics, what I'm going to talk about and share with you all. And a lot of times, like today, for example, when I think I'm going to talk about one thing, or when I plan to talk about one thing, I find out something totally different is going on, and I'm like, wait a minute, people, they need to know about this, and they need to know what's going on so that they can take, appropriate steps and actions. To make a plan for themselves and their families. So I came across this story today as I was doing some research. And you all know right here on the channel, here at Andrea Speaks TV, you all know that I talk a lot about food shortages and how we all need to be prepared. And so what I wanted to talk to you all about is um, what some may consider, what some people may consider as a possible solution, or what some may say is an alternative to um, food shortages. And it's the fact that in some countries there are um, there are places where they are actually making. There's a process where they are growing meat in a lab. And I think that based on my research, things that I have found out, things that I have learned, I think that we all need to be concerned. So you all let me know in the chat. Have you known about this? Have you ever heard of such a thing where you can grow meat in a lab? Let me know whether you're watching now live or by replay. Have you heard of this? And before I get started, when I think about it, I said, wait a minute. Um, there was a time where, and I will admit, there was a time where I enjoyed eating the Impossible Burgers. Have you all ever heard of Impossible Burgers or um, other type of, burgers that were alternatives to meat and things like that? Have you all ever heard of that? Thank you all so much, those who are tuning in now, watching by replay. Um, and so as I was doing my research, I said, wait a minute, was I eating lab grown meat when I was eating Impossible Burgers? Now, I've heard about this several months ago, right? Thank you all so much, those who are tuning in now live. Someone shared, wow, this goes back to cloning sheep. Oh my goodness. And so, I thought about it, I said, wait a minute. When I was eating the Impossible Burger, I don't eat it now. Ever since I found out, what was going on a while back, I said, wait a minute, I'm not eating this anymore. I said, wait a minute, was I eating lab grown meat when I was eating the Impossible Burgers? You all remember when it first came out or when it was introduced? It was like this big thing, and it was just really a wave where I call it a wave, but people were, really pushing the Impossible Burgers, and they were talking about other. Now, in my research, let me say this: in my research, um, and there are videos out there. So I won't play any videos on this live. For some reason, I experienced this yesterday when I tried to share my screen and share some of the information with you all. It's like it started slowing down my live. So all you have to do is just type in the search engines. Even here on YouTube, you can just type in lab grown meat, and there will be several articles, videos. You'll actually be alarmed at the amount of information that is out there. And it's not something that just started a month ago. This has been in the works even now. So, I started thinking, wait a minute, when I was eating Impossible Burgers, was that actually lab grown meat? And then I found out that some kind of way in the making of the Impossible Burger, they were actually taking, I believe it was cells, or they were taking some parts of um, the animal, um, and they were injecting it into the actual Impossible Burger, and it was giving it a taste that mimicked eating real meat. Do you all know what I'm talking about? And so, when I found that, I said, wait a minute, I don't want to eat this anymore. Now, going back to where I was talking about, the wave of people eating Impossible Burgers, and overall, people were very concerned about, you know, uh, eating meat. There are some people who, based on their choice, their preference, they choose to be vegan or vegetarian, and so a lot of people were looking at a lot of people were looking at other alternatives um, rather than eating meat. Okay, so it made me think about all of that. But now I did find that in my research they were saying this particular article. I can't remember the source, but this particular article was saying that the lab grown meat was not to be confused with the plant-based alternatives. But now, based on my research, and I'm going to share some information with you, it has me wondering what's really going on, and can we even trust the plant-based alternatives that some companies are pushing? So let's go ahead and get into it. Someone shared in the chat, Beyond Meat is okay compared to Impossible Burger. Ingredients can be verified, but health-wise, is it much better? You're better off eating organic grass-fed beef, and this is a vegetarian speaking. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, the information that I'm sharing is quite alarming, and so this is not to cause anyone to go into a panic, but I just want to educate you about what's going on so that you can make a plan. Um, Maybe you need to make some changes based on this information. By all means, I want you to do your own research, but take into consideration what I'm saying. There's so much going on now in the world. Um, so many distractions are out there, right? So many things that are going on that a lot of times when there are there are big headline stories in the news, and we know some of the things that are going on now. It's easy to, when there are other stories in the news, other big headline stories in the news, It's very easy to miss, um, some very concerning stories, things that, we really need to know about and really need to know what's going on. It's very easy to miss those stories. So this particular article talking about lab grown meat is one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry about that, y'all. I dropped my paper. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to share my information with you. I'm drinking some green juice. It has fruits and vegetables in it. You all know we have to take care of ourselves, right? We can't just, research information and, to try to find out what's going on and not take care of our health. So I want to encourage everyone to do that. Make your health a priority. Okay. All right. So the information that I want to report on, it comes from the Guardian. Okay. It comes from the Guardian. Actually, I have two sources. One is from the Guardian. Actually, both articles are from the Guardian. And the title of this article is "The World's Largest VATS," that's VATS, "for growing no-kill meat to be built in the US." Okay, you all make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Also, share this video and join our community right here at Andrea Speaks TV. Okay, now, according to The Guardian, this information comes from The Guardian. It says the world's largest bioreactors to produce cultivated meat have been announced, with the potential to supply tens of thousands of shops and restaurants. Did y'all hear what I said? Let me read it again. I don't think someone may have missed what I said. Okay, the world's largest bioreactors to produce cultivated meat have been announced, with the potential to supply tens of thousands of shops and restaurants. What do you think about that? So, just from reading this first sentence, right? Just from reading the first sentence, what I make of this is that they're planning for this to be like a mass production, to where, okay, you decide, hey, I want to go to, think about your favorite restaurant, for example. You want to go eat at your favorite restaurant, and you're thinking that you're getting real beef, real chicken, maybe, for those who eat pork. You're thinking maybe you're even getting lamb. In the future, it could possibly, your favorite restaurant could possibly be serving this cultivated meat. What do you think about that? All right. Now, experts say that this move could be a game changer. They're saying this move could be a game changer. Okay. Let me know your thoughts on this. Now, the U.S. company Good Meat, said that the bioreactors will grow more than 13,000 tons of chicken and beef a year. It will use cells, and this is what I was talking about with the Impossible Burger. Okay. It says it will use cells taken from cell banks or eggs, so that the meat will not require the slaughter of any livestock. Okay. So again, y'all, they're saying that, and I've talked about, excuse me, right here on the channel before, where they're talking about, the climate crisis, climate change, um, saving animals, things of that nature. So they're saying that cultivating or growing meat in a lab is one way, um, that people can eat what they think is, chicken, beef, pork, um, without, killing real animals. Okay, what are your thoughts on that? The article continues by saying that there are 170 companies around the world working on cultured meat. But Good Meat, the article says, is the only company to have gained regulatory approval to sell its products to the public. It began serving cultivated chicken in Singapore in December 2020. Now, I said, wait a minute. That was almost 2 years ago. So I did some research, and I actually found an article. Okay. If you can see it here, I found an article, and this is actually the thumbnail to the video. But the article says, as you can see, it says no kill lab grown meat to go on sale for the first time. Okay, so this is from December 2020. And I'm just going to read it because I just read to you that the company Good Meat began serving cultivated chicken in Singapore in December 2020. Now, I want y'all to look at this picture, right? Now, it appears to be what? Chicken nuggets with maybe honey mustard sauce or something like that. Honey mustard or ranch, right? Doesn't that look real, yo? Would you even be able to tell that these are not real chicken nuggets? Okay. What do y'all think about that? So could it be even in the future to where we're sitting down? Y'all think about this. This is really what I'm saying, right? Let me just be plain, just cut and dry, tell you. Some of, based on my research, some of this food looks so much like the real thing. Look at this, y'all. And I should have printed it in color, but I just didn't do that. Those look like real chicken nuggets. You know, the kind, even now I buy this sometime too, because my daughter likes them as well. I like them. You can buy the chicken nuggets, and you can put them in the oven and cook them for like maybe 25, 30 minutes. And they'll come out looking just like this. Look at that, y'all. Doesn't that look like the real thing? So could it be that there will come a time? Hold on, y'all. Let me get my camera back into focus. Could it be that there will come a time? Okay. I thought it kind of went out of focus, but could there be a time where, um, we're going to eat at these stores? And hold on, let me see if I can get my camera back into focus here. Okay. There it is. It was kind of looking blurry and crazy. And I'm like, let me fix this. Okay. But let me get back to what I was saying. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much. Someone in the chat shared that Bill Gates, we've talked about him before. Bill Gates owns lab grown meat factories and bug growing warehouses to make food. See, y'all already own it. Look at what's happening, y'all. And these are things that are not front page news at all. So what the point I was trying to make, y'all, is could there ever come a time where we're going to sit down to eat at these restaurants and we think that we're eating chicken nuggets? Okay, we think we're eating chicken nuggets, but it's lab grown meat. Think about that. That is a reality that could be coming, in the near future sometime. I want us to start thinking about that. Oh my goodness, someone shared they are making milk from roaches. Ugh, I can't even, I couldn't even think about that. That's terrible. I'm gonna have to research that. Myself, my family, and I, we drink almond milk, so I would never ever even think that, milk from roaches would even be a thing. But I'm telling y'all, food. The more they talk about food shortages, and you all remember I was talking about food shortages at a time where nobody was talking about it. I was talking about this months ago, last year sometime, right? And now that I'm seeing way more information in the news about food shortages, you know, y'all know how we refer to like people as they, but world leaders of food companies, people of those different positions, they're coming up with different ways to introduce what some may call their agenda, and they want to, this is the direction that they want to go in, that they want the world to go in, where we're growing lab grown meat. Who knows what's in it? Who knows if it's in really anything that's really good for us? So these are all things that I want us to think about. Okay, but let me keep reading. This information is from December 2020 when they first started selling this lab grown meat in Singapore. Okay, so this information does come from The Guardian. And the article says cultured meat produced in bioreactors without the slaughter of an animal, has been approved for sale by a regulatory authority for the first time. The development has been hailed as a landmark moment across the meat industry. Okay. I didn't actually do a video about this, but I remember talking about it a couple months ago where there were, even here in the United States, they were calling on changes to be made in the meat industry where they're saying that the meat industry is controlled by, I think it's like four, primarily four companies. And what one other thing that I'm noticing is that they're trying to say that, oh, because there's a monopoly in the meat industry. I even watched today, I watched a hearing where several individuals tied to our government. I don't know their positions. I don't know if they were senators. I know some were health experts, some may have been members of Congress, but they actually had a hearing today where they were talking about, the cause and consequences of the baby formula shortage. And I even heard some of the people speak of the fact that even in the baby formula industry, the infant formula, baby formula industry, they were saying that it's also like a monopoly controlled by a certain group or certain group of businesses. So what I'm saying is, it seems like just from what I have heard myself, even in my research, it seems like they were saying that because these different industries are pretty much have a monopoly, that they're using that reason, allegedly their reason, as a way to step in and say, hey, we're going to break up the monopoly by introducing our own meat or lab grown meat, or we're going to bring in baby formula from this particular area of the world, things of that nature. So these are all things that we need to think about. Let me continue. Now, the chicken bites. Okay. So I showed you all the picture. You can see it looks like chicken nuggets with your dipping sauce. Okay. They're saying the chicken bites produced by the U.S. company Eat Just, that's EAT, and then the word JUST, have passed a safety review by the Singapore Food Agency, and the approval could open the door to a future when all meat is produced without the killing of livestock, the company said. Dozens of firms are developing cultivated chicken. Listen to this, y'all. Dozens of firms are developing cultivated chicken, beef, and pork with a view to slashing the impact of industrial livestock production on the climate and nature crises. Okay, did y'all hear that? Let me read that again. I got to go back and say that again. Dozens of firms are developing cultivated chicken, beef, and pork with a view to slashing the impact of industrial livestock production on the climate and nature crisis. Okay, someone also shared in the chat they are pushing to not put the ingredients on food labels. Okay, I did see that also in the news. Okay, you all make sure that you like this video, share this video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, give me just a minute, y'all. Let me check on something. I hope that you all can see me and hear me clearly. Let me just check and make sure. Thank you all so much for your support of Andrea Speaks TV. You all let me know, can you hear me clearly? Can you see me clearly? Those who are watching now live, are you all able to hear me and see me clearly? Me just a moment. Thank you all again for your support. Let me know your thoughts on our topic for today. And the topic is lab grown meat and why we all should be concerned. You all let me know your thoughts on this topic, okay? All right, let me see. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me and that you could see me clearly. Okay, let me just share to a couple of places and then we're going to continue. All right, give me just a moment here. Okay, some buffering. Okay, let me check on that. Thank you so much for your support, okay? Okay, all right. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and continue now. Again, let me read this information. We all need to know about this. Like I said, y'all, with the food shortages going on, with the food shortages, this is a way for them to introduce. This is a way I feel for them to introduce the agenda of, um, being able to. I don't know how to describe it. Being able to grow food in labs. Now, this is not to be mistaken with um growing like your own food at home. This is not what this is. We're talking about people who scientists who have come together and they're in a lab and they've taken cells. There are videos about this, and all you have to do is just you can search right here on YouTube, but there are videos about where they are taking cells from live animals and they are injecting it into this meat, so to speak. We know it's not real meat, and they are making it taste like meat. Okay. This is something that we need to know about. So, again, y'all, according to the information in The Guardian, it says dozens of firms are developing cultivated chicken, beef, and pork with a view to slashing the impact of industrial livestock production on the climate and nature crisis. Okay. As well as providing cleaner, listen to this, y'all, as well as providing cleaner, drug free, and cruelty free meat. Okay, currently the article says about 130 million chickens are slaughtered every day for meat and 4 million pigs. By weight, 60% of the mammals on Earth are livestock, and 36% are humans, and only 4% are wild. Okay. All right, you all let me know your thoughts about this in the comments. Thank you to everyone who is watching now live, or if you're watching by replay. We're here talking about lab grown meat and why we all need to be concerned. So, this is not something, right now, I'm sharing some information from the year, or from December 2020. And I want you all to know that this has this growing meat in a lab. This has been something that has been in the works now for several years, and they're starting to implement it more and more. Okay. All right. Now, the cells, the article says, for Eat Just product are grown in a 1,200-liter bioreactor and then combined with plant based ingredients. Okay. That's why I was telling y'all, even when I think about, um, you know, again, you all remember there was a wave. It may even still be going on now. I know, knowing what I know now, I don't eat those type of burgers. But back when I used to eat the Impossible Burger and what appeared to be plant-based burgers, you know, back then I didn't know the information that I know now. And now that I know this information, I'm not eating that. You all let me know. Have you all had those type of burgers in the past? Impossible Burger, what is the company, Beyond Meat? Someone mentioned that earlier in the chat. Do you still eat those products? If so, why? And if you stop eating them, why did you? For me, I just felt like, okay, I don't know exactly what's in it, even though they market it as being like a healthier option to eating regular meat. I didn't like what I learned about that. And so, that's the purpose of this channel, not to completely change your mind. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but based on the information, I am here to say, hey, you may want to think about this. You know, this is what's going on. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay, again, the cells for Eat Just products are grown in a 1,200-liter bioreactor and then combined with plant-based ingredients. Now, the article says initial availability would be limited. This is back in 2020 when this article was published. And the company said the bites would be sold in a restaurant in Singapore. The product would be significantly more expensive than conventional chicken, the article says, until production was scaled up. But the company Eat Just said it would ultimately be cheaper. Okay. Now, the cells, someone in the chat said, what do people think stem cells are? Okay. Um, if anyone has any information on that, or if you would like to elaborate on that, feel free. Are you saying that stem cells, they're actually getting this particular, I don't know what to call it, a product or byproduct, or the cells from the animals are actually coming from the stem cells? I admit that I would have to do more research on that, but if you would like to give us or share some insight on that, please feel free. Okay. So the article says the cells used to start the process came from a cell bank. It did not require the slaughter of chicken because cells can be taken from biopsies of live animals. The nutrients supplied to the growing cells were all from plants. So now it seems like they're taking cells, or what they're saying, cells from live animals, and they're combining it with, let's see, nutrients from plants, and they're making this. I don't even know what to call it, y'all. It's not meat, but they're taking cells from live animals, and they're taking plants, or parts of plants, putting it together, and they're saying, hey, we want you to eat this. What do y'all think about that? Y'all let me know your thoughts on that. The article goes on to say, let's see, the article continues by saying that the growth medium for the Singapore production line includes foetal bovine serum, which is extracted from some type of blood, but this is largely removed before consumption. A plant based serum, the article says, would be used in the next production line, the company said, but was not available when the Singapore approval process began 2 years ago. So 2 years from 2020 would have been what, 2018. Okay. Listen to this, y'all. The article says, a series of scientific studies have shown that people in rich nations eat more meat than is healthy for them or the planet. Research, the article says, shows cutting meat consumption is vital in tackling the climate crisis, and some scientists say this is the best single environmental action a person can take. What do y'all think about that? Okay. Now, the companies developing lab grown meat, the article says, believe this is the product most likely to wean committed meat eaters off traditional sources. Vegan diets are viewed as unappealing by some, and plant based meat replacements are not always regarded as replicating the texture and flavor of conventional meat. Meat cultivated in bioreactors, the article says, also avoids the issues of bacterial contamination from animal waste and the overuse of antibiotics and hormones in animals. All right, you all let me know your thoughts on what they're saying. Okay. All right, so that was some information back from December 2020 when they first started to sell live cultivated meat in restaurants. And for those who are just joining, I do have a picture here just so you can see. This is an actual, these are chicken bites that were sold in Singapore in December of the year 2020. And like I said, y'all, doesn't this look just like chicken nuggets? Think about that, y'all. Hello to everyone just tuning in. Thank you all so much for your support. Look at that, y'all. So imagine you're going into a restaurant, or you want to go through, hold on, y'all. Let me bring it back into focus. Okay. Okay. All right. That's much better. So imagine you're going to a restaurant, right? You're going to a restaurant, you want to sit down, or maybe you want to grab something quick to eat, and then, go on about your way. And then you're getting what you're thinking is a what? 1, 2, 3. You think you're getting a six-piece nuggets, chicken nuggets, chicken bites, and the whole time it's meat grown in the lab. Do you all think, let me see if I can bring it back into focus. Do you all think this is the way the world is going? All right, let me see where my other article is. Okay, and you all let me know, is this helpful information? Did you already know? It seems like many of you all were already knowledgeable of what I'm sharing. So I definitely appreciate you all for offering your comments and your insight. Okay, all right. So going back to the article, um, so now, okay, the world's largest bioreactors to produce cultivated meat have been announced. It's said to have been a game changer. And um, the U.S. company Good Meat said the bioreactors will grow more than 13,000 tons of chicken and beef a year. It will use cells taken from cell banks or eggs, so the meat will not require the slaughter of um, actual animals. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Okay. Now, getting back to this article. So, what I did was the article mentioned that this was, it first began, the first use of cultivated chicken was served in Singapore in December 2020. So then I jumped and I read an article back from December 2020 talking about the chicken bites that were served. And so now we're going to fast forward to right now and talk about what is going on currently. Okay. Let's see. Cattle, the article says cattle, chicken, and other livestock have a huge environmental impact due to methane emissions, the destruction of forests and water use. The consumption of conventional meat in rich nations must fall dramatically. Listen to this, y'all. I'm going to start over with this. Listen to this, y'all. Cattle, chicken, and other livestock have a huge environmental impact due to methane emissions, the destruction of forests and water use. The consumption of conventional meat in rich nations must fall dramatically to beat the climate crisis. See how I told y'all they're tying everything into climate change, climate crisis? Okay, let's see. There's some comments in the chat. No meat, no B12. The FDA dropped many label requirements during the pandemic. They are into insect wafers for protein. There's already much insect protein on the market. And someone else shared their synthetic foods like the MCDs. Oh, okay, Mickey D's fries that Gates makes. Wow. People been eating meat since the dawn of time. Right, exactly. Okay. So now all of a sudden, that's my point. So now all of a sudden they're saying it's the problem. Now, I'm not here to say that we should eat meat. We know that there's some benefits to meat. And then we also know um, just after research, we know that some people would advocate against eating meat for certain reasons. So I'm not here to say whether you should or should not eat meat. I do agree with the person that shared in the chat that people have been eating meat since the dawn of time, but I do encourage you to do your own research. Um, from what I have found, there are some pros and cons to eating meat. But I just want to encourage you. I'm here to report the information that I'm sharing, but I also want to encourage you to do your own research. Okay. I'm not here to tell you whether or not you should eat meat, but I'm here to say, hey, if you do eat meat, or if you are looking for alternatives to eating meat, hey, look at what's going on. Look at what they're actually doing. Okay. All right. Now, the article also says that proponents of cultivated meat, again, that is meat that's grown in labs, say it can provide the same taste and feel as conventional meat, but with a far smaller environmental impact. The creation of Good Meat's 10 new bioreactors is under the way, the company says, each of which has a capacity of 250,000 liters and will stand 4 stories tall, far bigger than any constructed to date. Okay, the U.S. site for the facility. Now, listen to this, y'all. This is happening now in the U.S. Okay, the U.S. site for the facility is due to be finalized within 3 months and operational in the late 2024, reaching 11,800 tons a year by 2026 and 13,700 tons by 2030. Excuse me, y'all. All right, you all let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for sharing your comments, for sharing your insight. Okay, now here is listen to this. It says, according to the Guardian, the bioreactors are being manufactured as a part of an agreement with ABEC. I'm not exactly sure what that stands for. Let me see. Does the article mention it? It's called ABEC. Let me see if I can research that really quick. I'm interested to know. Okay, ABEC, it says ABEC is a leading bioprocess equipment manufacturer. Let me see if I can look that up really quickly. Okay. All right. So that's all that I can see right now is just that it is a leading bioprocess equipment manufacturer, which is also making a 6,000-liter bioreactor for Good Meat Singapore site. This is scheduled to begin production in early 2023, and it will itself be the biggest cultured meat bioreactor installed to date. Okay. Someone shared, I'll say it, eat meat. And also, someone else shared, our brains need healthy fats. Okay. Thank you all so much for sharing. I believe that, people have a choice. If you want to eat meat, eat meat. If you don't, then don't. But, just know if you don't eat meat and you decide to eat something else in place of meat to get the same nutrients, just know what it is that you're eating. Okay. I think that's true for all of us, whether we eat meat or not. Okay. Thank you all so much for your comments and for your support. All right, now listen at this quote, y'all. Listen at this quote. Listen at this quote that I'm about to read. Now, these are not my thoughts. This is an actual quote by Josh Tetrick, who is the chief executive, the CEO of Good Meat's parent company, Eat Just. Okay, he was quoted as saying, "Now, y'all tell me how y'all feel about this." He was quoted as saying, "I think our grandchildren, okay, are going to ask us about why we ate meat." Now, again, these are not my words. This is a quote I'm reading. Okay, he was quoted as saying, "I think our grandchildren are going to ask us about why we ate meat from slaughtered animals back in 2022." Do y'all think that's a question that's going to be asked in the future by our grandchildren? Do you agree or disagree with what he just said? Again, this is a quote by Josh Tetrick, who is the CEO of the chief executive of Good Meat's parent company, Eat Just, and that's EATJUST. Okay, so if you want to research those two companies, let me type it in the chat. I'm going to type the name of the company. So if you would like to research, I'm typing it in the chat now. Research the companies, and that's Good Meat and their parent company. Um, that's Eat Just. Okay. So I just typed it in the comments so that you all could see it and do your research. So again, the quote from the chief executive of Good Meat's parent company, Eat Just, he was quoted as saying, "I think our grandchildren," these are not my words, okay? This is a quote by Josh Tetrick, the CEO of Good Meat's parent company, Eat Just. "I think our grandchildren," this is his quote, he said, "are going to ask us about why we ate meat from slaughtered animals back in 2022. So what does that tell y'all? This is something that they plan on, once they get it going how they want it going. This is something that they plan on using for years to come now. Okay. So earlier when I asked the question, is this the way that the world is going? It seems like it is. Okay. You all let me know your thoughts on that. Okay. Someone shared in the chat, Japan is trying to extract protein from human poop and make steaks. Not kidding. Wow. You see, for some, you know what? It's surprising, but then I'm not surprised. Again, they're saying that because of food shortages, they're saying because of food shortages, they're using, so what I'm saying is they're using food shortages, the coming global food crisis, they're using that as a reason to say, hey, now is the time to introduce our agendas. This is what we need to do. This is what's going on. Someone shared, fish is the safest if you have fresh water. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for contributing to the channel. I appreciate you all. Okay, now let me keep going. Okay, the same person, the CEO of Good Meats parent company, he just was quoted as saying, "Cultivated meat matters." Listen to this, y'all. This is like a his way of justifying the use of lab grown meat. Listen to this, y'all. Cultivated meat matters because it will enable us to eat meat without all the harm, without bulldozing forests, without the need to slaughter an animal, without the need to use antibiotics, without accelerating zoonotic diseases. Okay, the bioreactors, he continues, will be by saying, he continues by saying, this is another quote, the bioreactors will be far and away the largest, not only in the cultivated meat industry, but in the biopharma industry too. So the design and engineering challenges are significant, the capital investments are significant, and the potential to take another step towards shifting society away from the slaughtered meat is significant. Okay, someone shared, I personally would not rely on meat for food unless you can sustain it without this system, meaning you have cows and you have, I'm sorry, let me read again. Okay, someone shared, I personally would not rely on meat for food unless you can sustain it without this system, meaning you have cows and you have, I cannot read, y'all. I'm sorry, let me make sure I'm reading your message correctly. Okay, let me start over. Thank you all so much for your support. Someone shared, I personally would not rely on meat for food unless you can sustain it without this system, meaning you have cows and you are butchering them. Otherwise, you will have that taste not good, not good when starving. Okay. Someone else shared, I also heard the lab grown meat is made from human DNA. Ugh. It's almost really kind of like almost disgusting to think about, right? Someone said they bulldoze forests to install wind farms. And, as I look around in different areas where I'm located, they're bulldozing forests to actually build things like homes and townhomes and communities where people can live in. So, it makes me think about, just how concerned are they about saving the forest? Let's see, people need to start thinking about getting out of cities. That's what someone shared. Um, Someone said, I missed the can. The was supposed to be a can. Let's see. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Back when you made the comment, meaning you have cows and you can butcher them. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Isn't this news concerning y'all when you really think about it? And it's almost kind of, in a way, it's kind of cruel and evil, right? Do you all feel that way about, their, and we've talked about it before. We talked about population control. Um, Do you feel like this? Do you all, anyone feel like this could be possibly a way, another form of population control that they want to be able to control? Um, they're actually making what we eat. They're making meat. What are they putting in this meat? What are they putting in this meat? Okay. A few more things that I want to point out to you about the article. Again, we're here talking about lab grown meat and why we all should be concerned. Let's see. Okay. One issue, the article says, will be to ensure that the meat cells grow as well as in large reactors as they do in the smaller ones used so far. Cultivated meat has not yet been approved for sale. Listen to this, y'all. Let me start over. Cultivated meat has not yet been approved for sale by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Here's a quote that says we've submitted our application. Again, that is from the CEO of Good Meats parent company, Eat Just. They said they have submitted their application. Now they want to sell this to us in the United States. Someone said, look what they put in the jabs. Oh, goodness. Even wonder why the topic of, wow. Wow. That's a whole different conversation, isn't it? Okay. All right. So, like I shared, this has been done in Singapore. And now they're saying that they want to approve, they have submitted this company, Eat Just. Okay, I put it in the chat. Let me scroll up. I'll put it right here on the screen. You can research the companies Good Meat and their parent company Eat Just. They have said the cultivated meat has not yet been approved for sale by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The company, the parent company, Eat Just, has said that we've submitted our application. We found the agency to be fully engaged, asking all the questions you'd expect from sale identification to final product. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be following this story and to see, a lot of times they have Senate hearings. I'm learning they have Senate hearings, congressional hearings where someone, a representative or people knowledgeable of the situation, representatives from the companies, as well as health experts. Excuse me, y'all. Let me drink some juice. They go before Congress and they testify and they ask questions to see if this is something that even needs to be approved. And so I'm going to be doing research and following this story. It's definitely one that I think is concerning because, like I said, I was talking about food shortages here on the channel long before, it was like headline news. And now that I'm starting to see it more and more, I'm, I'm thinking based on my research, I'm coming to the realization that, one day um, if there is a global food crisis like they talk about, um, I still haven't done my video where I was going to talk about what was going on in Shanghai and how they had the lockdown, but how I want to tie what's happening in Shanghai to this story is that the people of Shanghai, they're on lockdown and they're having to rely on the government to feed them. And a lot of people got sick from the government food. Did you all see that in the news? I had a whole slide presentation ready to share with you all, but for some reason I just ended up not sharing it. I think I had planned to go live that day, but I didn't. But what I want to let you all know is there may be a time, we don't know exactly what's coming in the future. Who would have predicted the pandemic? There may be a time in the future where, some people may have to rely on the government for food if food shortages continue to grow and get to the point where people are fighting over food, there's civil unrest. You may be saying, well, Andrea, that kind of sounds far-fetched, but look at a lot of what's been happening not only in the United States but across the world. And if we do get to that point, then who was to say that they would. Y'all think about this just came to my mind. How do we know? What if this was the actual food that they're creating to prepare for the food shortages that are to come? Think about this, y'all. What if right now they're creating the food in the labs that they're going to use to feed the people in the event of global food crisis? Isn't that terrible, y'all? Something to think about. All right. So the article continues by saying another cultivated meat company, Upside Foods. Okay, so I'm going to type this in the chat. I also want you to research the company. It's called Upside Foods. Okay, we want to know what their plans are, what they're doing, and we all need to do our research and share information. Okay, so I want you to research the company Upside Foods. They were also mentioned in this article. And it says another cultivated meat company, Upside Foods, raised $400 million, y'all. They raised $400 million in April, in part to fund a commercial scale facility to produce thousands of tons of meat a year. Okay, so again, I put it right here on the screen. You can see it right there. Research the company Upside Foods. Okay, y'all got that? Y'all make sure y'all write that down. Okay, there are three companies now that I want you to research. Actually, I have some more that I'm going to put on the screen. Okay, someone asked, have you watched Soylent Green? You should. No, I haven't. Let me write that down. Let me know, is that Is that on Netflix? Where can I find that at? Okay, Soylent Green. I'm writing that down. I need to research Soylent Green. Okay, tell me where I can find that. Okay, someone else shared See Days of Noah channel Things Are Getting Weird series. Okay, let me write that down. So it's called Days of Noah. See Days of Noah channel. Is that an actual television station? I'm just gonna write it down. Days of Noah. Okay, Days of Noah. Things Are Getting Weird. Okay, let me write that down. Thank you all for sharing information with me. Things are getting weird. How about as I'm writing, y'all, my pen went out. Things are getting weird. Okay, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to research that. Okay, also, make sure y'all write this. We are going to have homework assignments. Okay, right here on the screen, we need to research the company's Good Meat. That's GOODMEAT. So we're going to research Good Meat. And we're also going to research their parent company, Eat Just, EATJUST. Okay, y'all got that? We're also going to research, again, these are companies that are producing lab grown meat, and they were mentioned in the articles that I referenced from The Guardian. You also need to research the company Upside Foods. We want to know what their plans are. We want to know what actions are they taking. So, that if we need to come together in some kind of way, write our elected officials, hold them accountable. We need to know what their plans are. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Research Upside Foods. And I also have a few more companies that I'm about to mention. Let me see. All right. Let me go ahead and finish reading the article. Thank you all again so much for your support. Okay. Let's see. All right. So again, the cultivated meat company Upside Foods raised $400 million, y'all, in April, in part to fund a commercial scale facility to produce thousands of tons of meat a year. It has not yet chosen the size of the bioreactors. Here's a quote by Amy Chen, who is the chief operating officer at Upside Foods, who said that we honestly don't even know what the limits are, but we will make some final decisions around the size of the cultivators as it gets closer to the construction date. Now, the taste of cultivated meat has been a key in raising investment, Chen said. And here's a quote saying, before I agreed to come on, I had to try the meat. I had that first bite and realized that it was simultaneously one of the most unremarkable things and one of the most, I'm sorry, let me read again. Okay. The taste of the cultivated meat has been key in raising investment, Chen said. Before I agreed to come on, I had to try the meat. I had that first bite and realized that it was simultaneously one of the most remarkable things and one of the most unremarkable things, I'm sorry, and one of the most remarkable things I've ever eaten. It's just meat. Okay, that was a quote. Other companies with facilities for cultivating meat include, okay, I'm going to type this in the chat. We're going to research Super Meat. I want you to also research Mosa Meat, Future Meat Technologies. We're also going to research, let me see, and the seafood. Someone earlier mentioned seafood. Someone earlier mentioned seafood. So here's some seafood producers we need to mention. Seafood producers, Wild Type, and looks like Chick Meats, I think. Let me make sure that's right. I think that's a O S. I'm sorry, SHIOK. Okay, thank you so much for your support. Okay, if you have to go now, Definitely, I want to encourage you to catch the replay so that you will see the parts that you missed. Okay. All right. So again, we need to research these companies. I just typed them in the chat. I'll show them on the screen. Let's research a company called Super Meat. These are other companies with facilities for cultivated meat include Super Meat, Mosa Meat, Future Meat Technologies, and the seafood producers Wild Type and Shiok SHIOK Meats. I think that's the yeah. There are also many companies that make plant-based meat replacements. Okay, so let's make sure that we research those companies. And it looks like, hey, they're even trying to do this with seafood. Okay. Now, Rosie Wardle, who is a partner and co-founder at Synthesis Capital, said this announcement is another example of the cultivated meat industry reaching an inflection point and moving from proof of concept to commercial scale. As investors, we are excited about the potential for this part of the alternative protein industry. That's what they're calling it, alternative protein industry, to play an important role in the future of food. Okay, the future of food. Think about that, y'all. The future of food. Okay. All right. Synthesis Capital. Capital, the article says, announced a $300 million fund on Wednesday to invest in alternative proteins and food technology, the largest dedicated fund raised in the sector to date. So I don't know from where, but millions of dollars are being put towards this particular industry. You all let me know. What are your thoughts on this? It seems like that, like I said, there's an agenda to feed people this type of lab grown food. Who knows what all is in it or what type of health effects, what type of effects it would have on people's health. So I want to caution you again. I'm not here to tell you what you should and shouldn't do, but based on the information, if you are someone who's looking for alternative proteins in the food industry, please make sure that you do your research. Okay. All right. All right. Now listen to this, y'all, and I'm gonna conclude the video with this last sentence in the article. The article says, and this is coming from the Guardian. I want y'all to really think about this, okay? The article concludes by saying that most of the meat people eat in the year 2040 will not come from slaughtered animals. That's according to a 2019 report from the consultancy Kearney that predicts that 60% will be either grown in vats or replaced by plant-based alternatives. That's concerning, isn't it, y'all? So someone in the chat mentioned earlier, all since the beginning of time, they shared, people have been eating meat. And they're saying that now, and again, I read, this is from the Guardian. This is from information is from the Guardian. Most of the meat, they're saying, someone is saying that most of the meat that people eat in the year 2040 will not come from slaughtered animals, according to a 2019 report from the consultancy Kearney that predicts that 60% will be either grown in vats, lab grown food, cultivated meat, or replaced by plant-based alternatives. Okay. So hopefully I have shared some information with you that will get you to thinking about what's really going on if you have not already thought about what's going on. Again, like I said, I've talked about food shortages even at a time where people weren't really talking about it. I have several videos right here on my channel where you can go and see what I've talked about, what I reported on, whether I was sitting here live or whether if I was at the store right there reporting live, showing you all what was going on. But again, I want to warn you that the more you see food shortages, global food crisis talked about in the news, expect to see more and more bizarre, I would call it bizarre ways of, them creating food. And one of those ways that is really being pushed, okay, there's a rise in cultivating meat and lab grown meat. And that's just meat. Who knows? There may be other foods that they're working on that they just haven't told us about. But, we just do our research, we'll find out. So I gave you all the names of the companies in the chat. If you're watching now live or by replay, you can just scroll back and look through the live chat. Or if you're watching afterwards, just click the live chat icon and you can see the names of the companies that I shared. But let's do our research, y'all. Let's spread this information. Let's share this information with our family members or friends. Let's also do our research. All you have to do is just go to, the internet search and type in lab grown meat. Or I even watched some videos on lab grown meat in YouTube, and it was very alarming, very concerning. So, again, this is just another way, another example of what I think are ways, these are signs telling us, hey, we need to be self-sufficient. Now, a lot of people may not be able to, you may live in an area where you're not able to raise your own chickens or, have your own meat. But, I would even encourage you to shop at if you are someone who eats meat, try to find a meat house or local butchery, or even in the grocery store, look for, like someone else mentioned earlier, grass-fed beef, organic. Um, you know, someone also shared, as I was doing my research, other information. They were saying that they were going to stop eating anything that was like filet. So if it was something like, beef, pork, chicken, they were saying they were gonna make sure it had bones, because that's the way that they felt like they knew that they were eating real meat. So again, these are just things for y'all to think about. Definitely make the best decision that you feel is for you and your family, and continue to stay tuned in with the channel so that I can bring you more news and information. So I'm going to end the video, but I want to say that I will be live again on tomorrow. I have several things that I need to do this evening and tonight, so I won't be live again tonight. But I want to say thank you all so much for taking time out of your evening to tune in and watch the video to get information. Be sure, if you have not already, subscribe to the channel, join our community, and make sure you stay informed. Also, if you are someone who you need to get emergency food supply and survival needs, just visit my website, preparewithandrea.com. I have several items that are there, things that I use, my family use, and so I want to share that with you. And also, if you are on Instagram, make sure you follow me on my Instagram page at Andrea Speaks TV. Again, you can find me on Instagram at Andrea Speaks TV. So again, y'all, this episode was all about lab-grown meat and why we should all be concerned. Why we should be concerned is because, again, food shortages, the more they talk about food shortages, who knows? They may even, and I would hate to think of this, but who knows? They may purposely, some people feel like the food shortages were intentional, they were purposeful. They purposely, some people feel like, made food not available in certain stores or certain areas. And so who knows? That may be the case. And they may say, hey, the cost of meat is so high. We want to help alleviate those costs. Here, eat this lab grown cultivated meat. It's sad, it's evil to think about, it's evil, it's cruel, but it seemed like this is the way that things are going. So again, thank you all so much for supporting the channel, subscribing to the channel. I'm Andrea with Andrea Speaks TV. Y'all take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.